All right, you've got questions, comments, messages, feel free to call or email me. You can call me, obviously, at Talto. I'd be happy to answer your questions. Use Skype, FBTV. Email me, fbtv@freightbrokertv.com. If you are watching any of our videos on YouTube, leave a comment if you got a question or whatever. That always helps. Today's topic, we got several things we're going to talk about today if we've got time. Freight broker or freight dispatcher. I have a bad habit of watching or taking in a little bit of videos on YouTube. When it comes to brokering, dispatch, trucking, I'll give somebody, benefit of a doubt. But when I start seeing freight broker or freight dispatcher as a title, it starts getting me wondering, okay, what are they pushing? And 9.9 times out of 10, they are pushing, no, don't be a broker, be a dispatcher. Now, why is that? Matter of fact, I saw one guy with video, and he was selling it. He was selling it good, but he could not ever get the middleman between the broker and the dispatcher out of the way. The middleman in that picture is going to be the broker. Because dispatchers generally don't work with their own customers. They are working through a broker to get trucks to give to a truck, or to get loads to put on a truck, and the trucking company is usually their client. They represent the trucking company. Not saying anything's wrong with that. If that's the way you want to go, knock yourself out. But in the long run, it's been my experience. I think we've talked about this in another video somewhere not too long ago. But, I see these things popping up all the time, and I can't believe people are falling into this trap. Is that when you are working as a dispatcher, if I'm a trucking company, I'm going, okay, you're too lazy to get out there and get your own customers. Because what you're going to be doing is using the load board to pick loads and then give to me. So the broker's taking 10, 20% off the top. Then you're taking as much as another 10% off the top. So if I'm the truck, when it gets to me, I'm down to 30% for doing what I can do in the cab of my truck on my phone. Why do I want to pay you 10% when I can do everything from my phone from the cab of my truck? Now, if you're a trucking company and you don't know how to do this from your phone, man, call me. Do a search on Google, all right? Seriously, I'll talk you through that because I know it's tough enough out there, especially fuel. Fuel prices, we usually get into fuel prices today, but Energy Department had yesterday off, yesterday being President's Day and all, so we haven't got the update yet. And we won't have it for this video. But last week, fuel was up over $4 a gallon. It's going to be more today, I almost bet you. And it's going to keep on going up. And the reason is we got Russia and Ukraine to deal with. Washington, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to get political here, but anymore, Washington's like Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, 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 wah. And it's kind of sad if you want to get right down to it. Anyway, from last I saw this morning, it looks like Russia has entered the Ukraine, and nobody's doing anything as of when we are doing this podcast. That could have changed by the time you've seen it. But that's going to cause a problem. And this is all about an oil pipeline when you get right down to it. And I agree with a lot of other people. This goes back to August, too. You can put two and two together and figure that one out. But anyway, a freight dispatcher, let's get to that for a moment. A freight dispatcher is usually one that sets up a dispatch service because they don't have to do anything except have a load board, a telephone, email, and get a truck to agree to let them get loads for their trucks. And but if you're a trucking company doing this, it looks good on the surface. All right, bottom line, it looks good on the surface. But when you step into that I mean, literally step into it. Hey, yeah, this sounds like a good idea. It'll save me time. You're sitting anyway. You could, if you're a small trucking company, the best thing you could do is set up some good relationships with some of your brokers and keep them up to date. Let them know where you're going. So if they have anything coming out of that area, they can get it for you. Matter of fact, if you're doing anything, if you're a small trucking company, because usually it's a smaller trucking companies, I'm talking 1 to 5 trucks. You might find some that are using a dispatch service, have a few more than 5, but usually it's under 5 trucks. And I think a lot of these trucking companies go into it expecting this dispatch service to have their own customers. Well, no, they're getting the loads off the load board. Bottom line. So what do you do in a situation like that? Well, let's do some math. Let's say you got a couple, 2 or 3 trucks. You're paying a dispatch service. I'm just going round numbers here. Let's go 10%. So you got 3 trucks. Each of your trucks turning about $3,000 a week. I'm just going to use round numbers. Take 10% off that, $300. If you got 3 trucks, you're paying this dispatch service $900 a week. And all they're doing is pulling loads off the load board. Now, I've seen some dispatch services that are offering a little bit more to justify cost, but still. You could take that $900 a week and hire someone that would dispatch as well as obtain customers for your truck operation, your carrier side. See what I mean? In addition to that, as you begin building your customer base, hauling loads, customer direct loads, that cuts down the times you got to use a broker. It's going to cut it by 50%. And eventually what's going to happen, hopefully, is you've got head hauls going and coming back. Okay, it takes time, but you can get there. I know I worked for one trucking company, had it set up that way. And I would bet 1 out of 10 loads that I hauled for this company was a brokered load. The rest of them, all head hauls. They had all had set up their accounts going and coming, and I had it working like clockwork. It was pretty cool. Pretty nice, too. Now, if you're a dispatch service, I know I'm going to catch a lot of flack, but if you are a dispatch service, I know I'm going to get hate mail. Why are you talking bad about it? No, I'm not talking bad about you. I just think you got to take it to the next level. You could be, instead of being a freight dispatcher, you don't have to go out there and get a license, because I've seen some of these videos saying, freight broker, okay, you got to get your license, your UCR, you got a $75,000 property broker, surety bond, blah, 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 blah. Yes, if you're going to be a freight brokerage company, you can be an agent. You can be a freight broker agent. All right? The freight broker agent, as a freight broker agent, you're going to be working under a licensed freight broker, so you can avoid all that. You're not going to have to get a license or a bond or anything like that, because you're going to be working under that broker's license as an independent contractor. You're going to be your own business. You're going to get a 1099 at the end of the year. If you make $1,000 this week, you're going to get paid $1,000 this week. The difference, you've got to get your own customers. That's where the money's going to be, getting your own customers. Look at it this way. You're selling a truck. If the broker's taking 20% off the top, you're taking 10%. You're selling these loads to trucking companies already at a 30% net. Imagine how you're going to do if you're selling these loads to trucking companies at a 20% net. So you're paying the truck more now, and you're making twice as much. Do the math. See what I mean? Start out as a freight broker agent. Get your own loads. Have your own customers. And you'll build that business. This is how broker agents get up to that 6-digit income level. The startup period, yes, it's going to be tough. It is on everyone. Nobody likes to start up because you've got to get out here. You got to stay on the phone. You got to get customer base. You got to get loads. You got to start learning the loads, figuring out which trucking companies are wanting which loads and such. You start building lanes, but when you get to that point, that's where the money starts rolling. Everyone is different on that as far as when the money starts rolling. It could be, I've had clients, and I always tell people, I've probably told you this before in another video or podcast or whatever, but I've had clients started out as agents. Within 30 days, they were making $1,000 a week. I've had other clients 3 months later, they were still trying to move their first load. Everyone's different. Devil is in the details. Ask any of my clients, and they will tell you the word I use probably more than any word is details. Pay attention to the details. Now, at Tautoa, we will train you how to be a freight broker. We will consult. We have consulting packages that offer in-depth training. They start at, $6.95, and that guarantees placement as well as a consulting period, as well as the opportunity to contract direct with the broker when you've completed your mentorship program. Mentorship programs where when you finish training, you can enter our mentorship program where you can begin your broker operation as a freight broker agent through Tautoa. And when you complete, if you're still active and working and doing you'll have the opportunity to contract direct with Tautoa Logistics. So keep that in mind. Check it out. Go to tautoa.com, TALTOA.com. Call me. I'll be happy to talk to you about it. 479-668-0838.